Hello? Hi, are you there? Oh, right. You can't respond. Listen, I'm using your robot as a relay to get this message to you. I've picked up some unusual chatter regarding your robot. It seems that it has some information that we could use. Oh, wait, where are my manners? This is Lorenzo, a knight with the Brotherhood of Steel. We'd be very interested in examining your tech.
Could you bring your robot to one of our patrols so they can examine it? I'll have the robot mark the location on your map.
Okay, so two questions come to mind. What was that, and why? Let's start off with the first one, eh? What you just witnessed was part of Eddie's companion quest, Eddie My Love. After triggering some prerequisites, you will be contacted through Eddie by Senior Knight Lorenzo of the Brotherhood of Steel. Lorenzo uses the male adult 01 default voice type, which was provided by Yuri Lowenthal. But that last line? Quite clearly not done by him. So, who did that one? Well, that would be developer Jason Fader, namesake of the Faderator.
Akil Hooper, one of our designers, asked me for some temp VO because I was the temp VO guy on the team for a quest that he was doing with Eddie, where you would get a transmission coming in from, it's been so long, from somebody that hijacked Eddie, and he just wanted two wildly different voices, and he said I could do whatever I wanted. And I'm like, okay, that's dangerous. And so one of the voices I made sound like Dracula, and another voice I made sound like Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride. And the Inigo Montoya one actually wasn't removed, and because this was just a test thing for Eddie, and it wasn't even supposed to be in the final game, and so the script was cut, but there was a bug where some flag in the script could get tripped, and then Eddie would randomly just queue up this scripted quest scene.
Those of you familiar with Oblivion's testing content may remember those developers also being quite fond of The Princess Bride. And they also infamously have some placeholder dialogue recorded by developer Todd Howard, although that dialogue is tied to a test NPC that's only present in a test cell, not the final game.
Oh no, what do we do? I'm so scared.
The line by Fader isn't really that much of an oddity in and of itself. There is more placeholder dialogue to be found in the game's files.
There are too many places to hide around here. He'd seen me coming and then bam, I'm dead. He doesn't know you though. He probably won't shoot right away.
There are too many places to hide around here. He'd see me coming and then bam, I'm dead. He doesn't know you though. He probably won't shoot right away.
And if you're playing on the PS3, it's not even the only placeholder dialogue that you can encounter in the final game.
There's been things of a disturbing nature going on at the McBride Corral. Seems every night one of their herd meets a most unnatural death. And always there's holes all over the body. Work of the chupacabra, the livestock vampire, says Nobach, but they don't pay no mind. Too many holes, they say, and there's bullets in them. Well, says Nobach, we got a chupacabra with an automatic weapon. And that's when they get real quiet, 'cause now they see the predicament we're in.
However, for most players, this will be the only placeholder line they're actually familiar with. So, how did that happen in the first place? Well, I would say it's Bethesdaism. Now, I know it wasn't Bethesda that made this game, but it is still their engine. A Bethesdaism can happen to anyone using it, be it mod authors or professional developers. First things first though, you should listen to this.
Hello? Hi, are you there? Oh, right. You can't respond. Listen, I'm using your robot as a relay to get this message to you. I've picked up some unusual chatter regarding your robot. It seems that it has some information that we could use. Oh, wait, where are my manners? This is Lorenzo, a knight with the Brotherhood of Steel. We'd be very interested in examining your tech. Could you bring your robot to one of our patrols so they can examine it? I'll have the robot mark the location on your map.
Yeah, so the correct line does actually exist. Kinda. You'll notice that while this line is identical to the placeholder variant, it doesn't actually match up with the finalized subtitles. That's because these two scenes only differ in their last line for Lorenzo. So a finalized version of the line that matches this variant wasn't included in the files and may or may not have been recorded. Originally, I thought this whole ordeal would have been as easy as the developers just forgetting to record the proper line and that way the placeholder line shows up. But it's actually a bit more complicated than that. You see, when Lorenzo contacts you, the dialogue is played through a scene. However, there are actually two different variations of said scene. One where you're contacted by just Lorenzo, and one where after he's done explaining, April Mortimer of the Followers of the Apocalypse hijacks the signal. Again, which scene you get is dependent on a couple of prerequisites, but the important takeaway here is that in the former, you get all the dialogue proper, and the latter contains the placeholder. However, as a player, you're more likely to get the latter variant, so it's quite funny that that's the one with the very obvious issue. Speaking of, the way this dialogue works is that every text box consists of a different voice file. Seeing as the dialogue between the two scenes is identical, with the one just being a bit longer, you would think that they'd use the same voice files, right? Well, they don't. I'm not entirely sure if it's impossible on a technical level to link two different scenes to a shared voice file, but I don't think it is. Whatever the case, despite 3 of the 4 lines being identical in content, their file names are different. And presumably, that's exactly why this error was overlooked. I assumed that at first, all 4 of these lines were placeholders, but the first 3 were correctly overridden with a finalized voice file. Yet the 4th just never was. And yeah, that's basically how we ended up here. Happy to say that it's fixable at least, and ultimately a pretty minor addition to the list of the many, many, many quirks of this great title.